Hey, good morning, and welcome to another episode of the ASML Now podcast. This week, Bloomberg came out with the news that a Huawei phone has an advanced chip that the US thought could only be produced with ASML's most advanced EUV machine. And now it seems that China, in the form of the chip production company SMIC, has produced this chip with an ASML DUV machine, combined with parts from other companies. So, does this mean that China can produce already all of the most advanced chips? No, not necessarily. But other factors are indicating that the US is losing ground in the chip war. In this podcast, I will highlight 3 signs of this. Last week, it also turned out that an ex-ASML employee stole secret company info and started working for Huawei afterwards. ASML always said that this had no impact, but companies like this will never admit that employees stealing valuable company information in the first place. This would only make them more vulnerable. So you can count on the fact that it's basically never possible to keep technology outside the hands of competing countries in this globalized world for a long time. So it turned out that this advanced chip was probably made with a DUV of ASML. And did you know how much of the sales in Q3 went to China? 46%. And what did they sell to China? Exactly, DUV machines. The new export restrictions also include some of these DUV machines. But it's already too late. The DUV machines are already massively exported to China as we speak. When you are in a defense mode, you always have to anticipate on what the next move of your enemy is going to be. And this is far more difficult than being the attacking party, especially when you're trying to keep technology outside the wrong hands. There's simply too many factors that you have to take into account. As I mentioned in one of my other podcasts, China has 1.4 billion people. And with their state capitalism, they are innovating at a rate that is unprecedented in history. Just take a look at the leading role they have in electric cars, battery technology, and the energy transition. You can be sure that the same rate of innovation is happening in the semiconductor industry in order to reach the goal to be largely self-sufficient in 2025. And besides that, when a country is focusing so much on keeping what they have, they forget to look at where they want to go. I'm not saying that no innovation takes place in Europe and the US, but in this chip war, the focus is on keeping the EUV and now even the DUV technology outside of the Chinese hands. But there's a big chance that the Chinese are already working on new technologies like photonics. They might be buying up startups that no one ever heard of, all under the radar when the entire world is focused on the current chip war. Recently, ASML and the Dutch government only barely prevented this by investing 100 million euros in a Dutch startup called Smart Photonics, just to prevent this company from falling into Chinese hands. This time they managed, but it shows that photonics will be the next battleground between the West and China. A new technology means a new start and more chances for China to catch up more quickly than anyone else, just as they did in the car sector. Now the European car makers are waking up and it's too late. The same could happen in the chip sector. One thing the West is realizing: the time of pure private capitalism is done. Battling against the Chinese state requires governments and companies in the West to cooperate closely. And luckily, everyone seems to get the message, considering all the joint investments that are being done so far. However, this battle has just begun, and China is in a winning mood, and the Huawei phone is a clear symbol of that. I hope you like this podcast. Please subscribe and hope to see you soon.